Today's lesson is on comparing and ordering fractions, decimals, and percents. For our first question, we want to see which is greater, either 25% or 7/25. In order for us to compare fractions, decimals, and percents, we need to make sure that either both of our numbers are fractions, that they're both decimals, or both percents. So for number 1, since I have 25% or 7/25, I could either convert 25% to a fraction so that I could compare it to 7/25, or I could change 7/25 into a percent and compare it to 25%. I'm going to go ahead and change 7/25 to a percent. So in order for me to change 7/25 into a percent, I can write an equivalent fraction that has 100 as my denominator, because percents are always out of 100. 25 times 4 equals 100. So I multiply the numerator by 4 as well, so 7 times 4 is 28. And since percents are always out of 100, this would equal 28%. So 7/25 equals 28%. Now I can compare because I have 25% and 28%. And 28% is more than 25%, so that means that 7/25 is going to be greater. Now for number 2, I want to figure out which is greater, either 0.49, which is 49 hundredths, or 94%. For this problem, I am working with decimals and percents, so I can either convert 49 hundredths to a percent, or I could convert 94% to a decimal. I'll go ahead and convert 94% to a decimal for this problem. So I'm going to leave 0.49 or 49 hundredths like it is right now. So I'm going to take 94% and convert that to a decimal. When I convert 94% to a decimal, I want to move my decimal left 2 places. So I start at the end because my decimal right now is behind the 4, and I move up 2 places to the left. So 1, 2. That gives me 0.94. So 94% is equal to 94 hundredths. So now if I compare that to 49 hundredths, I can see that 94 hundredths is larger. So 94% is larger than 49 hundredths. Now for number 3, you, your sister, and a friend each take the same number of shots at a soccer goal. You make 75% of your shots. Your sister makes 13/20 of her shots, and your friend makes 7/10 of his shots. Who made the most shots? So let me go ahead and write down the numbers that I'm working with in this problem. I have 75%, (13/20) and 7/10. Since I'm using this number line, I need to convert all these to a decimal so that I can plot them on the number line. So let's start with 75%. In order for me to convert a percent to a decimal, I move my decimal 2 places to the left. So my decimal is currently behind the 5, and I'm moving it up 2 places to the left. So 1, 2, puts it in front of my 7, and that gives me 0.75 or 75 hundredths. That represents U. So my number line, I can go ahead and plot 75 hundredths, and that represents U. Now 13/20. I can convert a fraction to a decimal by using division. So I can do 13 divided by 20. 20 cannot go into 13, so I'll go and start with my 0. Now I'll add a decimal and a 0, and I'm going to go ahead and divide again. 20 goes into 130 6 times. 6 times 20 is 120. And when I subtract, I get 10. Now I will add my 0 and bring it down. And 20 goes into 100 5 times. 5 times 20 is 100. And when I subtract, I'm left with 0. I can't forget to put my decimal in my answer, so I need to bring it straight above. So I have 0.65 or 65 hundredths. So I can go ahead and plot that on my number line, and that represents your sister. And now I need to look at 7/10. 7/10 is the same thing as 70 hundredths. I can add a 0 behind the tenths place and the hundredths place, and these two numbers remain equal. So now I can plot 70 hundredths on my number line, and that represents your friend. Now I can use my number line to help me answer the question, who made the most shots? And the answer would be you, because your shots would be 75 hundredths compared to your sister, which was 65 hundredths, and your friend was 70 hundredths.